Welcome to the O, short for the Observatory, a sports talk show here at UTD TV. I'll be your host, Jordan Murphy. I'm joined in studio today by student analyst Matice Wynn. We're going to begin, how we always do, with a UTD Sports rundown. Matice, thanks for joining us today. Let's go ahead and talk about the volleyball team. Just to reiterate, they won their second straight ASC conference title last season. Undefeated conference record in that 2016 campaign. The deck was stacked against them a little more this season, though, at the beginning. Those two preseason injuries to Dylan Brinkman and Feina Zhang. What have you seen just to describe the resilience of this team so far?
Resilient, that is a good word to use. I just think it's really remarkable how even in the wake of all these injuries, they've been able to push through. I mean, they're going for, a three-way tie with Belhaven and...
It's UT Tyler, I believe, right.
Belhaven and UT Tyler for first place, right?
Right.
So they've lost two starters and still have managed to do that. I mean, that says a lot about the team, a lot about the coach. We have sophomores like Brianna Tully, Lauren Schilling really stepping up to the plate. So I just think it's really good. I think they're doing great, and I'd love to see how the season goes.
It's definitely going to be fun to follow again. As Matice mentioned, they're in a three-way tie right now, 6-2, same record as Belhaven and UT Tyler. 8 conference matchups left. On the 7th, they will play Belhaven, so a matchup of two of the first-place teams there. Definitely a storyline to follow. As we mentioned, the injuries, just definitely not the beginning that this team wanted, but they have just a really big testament to the coaching and this team just coming together. Just the depth and everything. So
it's crazy. I mean, like usually when a team loses their 2 starters or just injuries at the beginning of a season, a lot of people look down on them or like, there goes the season, like they just don't have a chance of coming back, and they've managed to come back. They have a lot of sophomore manpower. Those sophomores, like they're just really, they're really pushing through this season, and they've been a great asset to the team.
They definitely have, and they're ranked 22nd in the nation right now in the absence of those 2 main starters, so just really a lot of good things going on still, even with all those obstacles.
A lot of recognized players by the ASC, definitely.
Schilling, you just mentioned recognition. Schilling has gotten 3 weeks in a row, I believe she was the ASC Player of the Week. Tully was 2 weeks in a row Player of the Week, so just they needed people to step up, and they're getting that. It's been fun to watch.
Yes, definitely a great coach, definitely a great team, and definitely excited to see how their season goes. I
am as well. I think everybody is rooting for him. We're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll continue with this coverage of UTD Comet Sports. Thanks for joining us, Matice. Welcome back to the Observatory. Let's go ahead and continue our rundown of UTD Comet Sports. Let's jump into men's and women's golf. The men will be competing at the Oglethorpe Fall Invitational in Flowery Branch, Georgia on October 7th and 8th. The women's golf team has had a very hot start to their fall. Most recently at the Transylvania Fall Invitational, they set a 36-hole school record, shooting a team total of 628. The score earned them a team championship in the tournament, and freshman Lindy Patterson finished in second place individually. Finishing there got her the ASC Golfer of the Week accolade. Women's soccer now, they are also experiencing a hot start to their season. They are 9-1 overall, 5-0 in conference, a perfect conference record through this point. We caught up with Monica Dalla Casa, the UTD goalkeeper, in the studio to talk about this team's early season success.
I think what we can contribute the first half success the most to for our team is definitely just our mentality. We kind of made a conscious decision that we wanted to be a team that went out there and got after it, and we've definitely committed to it in the last 10 games, and if we stick with it, I think it's something that has helped us in the past and can help us in the future.
Dalla Casa is still yet to allow a goal in conference play, hasn't even really had to face the threat of a shot on goal very many times so far up to this point. She went on further to discuss the overall cohesiveness of the defensive unit.
I would like to say it's because of my loud voice that there's no shots, but obviously not at all. It definitely starts as like the whole team. We've had our forwards involved in defending. They get up there and they work their butts off to try and get the ball back for us, as well as our center mids have been awesome at just, recovering back. It's been a whole team effort actually with defending this year, and I think that's what's made the difference from this year and last year, and why there are no shots and why there's a lot more success for us up front as well. Specifically, my girls in the back, they're very hardworking and they do everything. They're very coachable. They listen very well to our coaches, and then they talk with me. We work through problems on the field. And that's something that just has been really awesome, is being able to quickly react and fix whatever's going on and play for the future. So I think that's what's been helping us a lot this year.
Moving on now to men's soccer, they are 6-3 overall, 4-1 in conference play with 6 conference contests remaining. Alfredo Kagi and Darren McFarlane lead the team with 3 goals each. On now to men's cross country and women's cross country. They'll return to action on October 7th in Marshall, Texas at East Texas Baptist. A sport that's out of season right now but still just received an award is the softball team. They just, the NFCA Top 10 academic team rankings just came out this week, and softball placed 8th on that list out of the top 10. Let's shift now to the professional side of Dallas sports. Last time we talked about the Cowboys, it was about Zeke in the beginning of the season. There's a little bit of a bigger air of uneasiness now in the Big D. The Cowboys are 500, 2-2, I should say, after that last loss to the Rams in Week 4. It looks like Zeke will face an impending 6-game suspension. He has not been suspended yet, has not missed any time, but it doesn't look like that's going to go away. So the Cowboys are going to have to find a way to deal with that, get things back on track. The Eagles right now in Philadelphia are in lead of that NFC East division with a 3-1 record. Moving on to the MLB, Major League Baseball, the Rangers had the end of their season recently. They finished 78-84. They missed the playoff season mark, unfortunately. The Chicago Cubs, the reigning champs, first title since 1908. They're taking on the Washington Nationals starting on October the 6th in a best-of-5 National League Division Series. Now on to the NHL. The Dallas Stars are about to begin their season. On October the 6th, they're taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. They missed the playoffs last season. They're looking to get back on track this time around. We move on now to the NBA, something that they do better than any other American sports league, and that is the off-season hype. Lots of trades and acquisitions. I'm joined here now by student analyst John Hatcher. John, where do we even begin with all this off-season talk with the NBA?
Well, this NBA offseason has definitely been a crazy one. I mean, last season, the Warriors and the Cavaliers, as we all know, were head and shoulders above the rest of the league.
Right.
The Golden State Warriors, they went 16-1 in the playoffs, and they really didn't have a matchup that kind of gave them any problems last year. So, I mean, this offseason, instead of the teams running away from that, they just kind of went at it head on and kind of just tried to stack their teams and stack the deck. So, I mean, the Oklahoma City Thunder, as we know, they have the MVP last season, Russell Westbrook, but they added all-stars Paul George and Carmelo Anthony to their roster, so they'll be a pretty tough team. I mean, most interesting to me was the Cavaliers and Celtics trade. They just swapped point guards. So Isaiah Thomas, he's now a Cavalier, and Kyrie Irving, he's now a Celtic.
That's huge.
Also, the Minnesota Timberwolves added all-star Jimmy Butler to their young core of Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, and the Houston Rockets added Chris Paul to their roster. So, I mean, there was definitely a lot of just interesting trades, and I think this year will be way more competitive in the NBA.
Right, again, lots of wild moves going on in the NBA. I just can't help but feel like it's still a race for second place. The Warriors still are going to be that elite team that everyone's going to put their standard against. So I'm really just hoping this provides more saturation, gives them more competition to face in the Western Conference and in that finals. I can't help but think that they're on a crash collision course.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I know a lot of people last offseason when Kevin Durant signed with the Warriors, there were a lot of upset people around the league just thinking that the Warriors were going to be too good as compared to the rest of the team. So I think this year it'll be a lot more competitive and people will be more happy with the NBA product than they were last year. So I think just as a whole, the Western Conference is definitely going to be extremely competitive.
Right.
I mean, it'll just be a better league this year. So we have something to look forward to.
Right, again, the NBA, wild off season with all the trades and acquisitions. That'll do it here actually for this episode of the Observatory. Thank you, John, for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
Until next time, I'm Jordan Murphey.